Yo, what is going on? Y'all already know it's another episode. I'm feeling a little under the weather too. I don't know if I'm getting a cold. I think it's just a cold. Got a little stuffy nose, nothing too serious. So excuse me today. But man, what a time to be alive if you are a college football fan. Another week, another crazy week in college football. One of the coaches that we've kind of been calling for his head, well, he's gone. He's somewhere else. And we just promoted another guy. So we're going to touch on that one today. Looks like FSU's AD situation is close to being resolved. And we're going to touch on that. The University of Florida. They just made a splash hire. I'm not going to lie. But up until that point, their recruiting class is in shambles. What does that mean for Florida State? We've heard some good things, so we're going to touch on that. And of course, the ins and outs of the normal days. Where's Marvin Jones Jr. going? Is Travis Hunter flipping? What's up with Sam McCall? Y'all know the deal. The transfer portal's still pumping. So we got all that and so much more on 863 Seminole TV. It's the Hangover, baby. Y'all know what time it is. Let go.
Need a horn in the drum roll.
Never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Low, a.k.a. the GOT. Damn truth. And you are over here on 863 Seminole TV. It's episode 43. We're making our way to a smooth, nice, rounded 50 episodes of this weekly episodic podcast. But it's episode 43. And the news, man, just keeps pumping to the point where I really can't even keep up. And I don't know if any of y'all can. It's ridiculous. We got a ton of it, man. We've got a new athletic director. We've got a new linebacker coach / maybe co-DC. We'll touch on that one for sure. New targets in recruiting that I didn't even think we were even in the running for. We're gonna talk about those individuals. Apparently, this linebacker recruiting ain't done either. Apparently, they got another in-home visit with the man that just committed to Miami. Don't ask me what's going on there, but apparently that is in the works. I wouldn't say get your hopes up. Mike Norvell is in St. Louis visiting one Kevin Coleman, so on and so forth. Again, the news just keeps breaking. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. As always, 27 people. We about to hit a roll call real quick before we really dive into our weekly topics. But hit that like button before you do anything else. Before you do anything, before you even come in here and say hello, the way you say hello is you hit the like button. And don't forget to let people know that we are live. So share those videos too. Let people know that. But let's hit this roll call real quick. let's hit this roll call, and then we're going to dive right into it, man. Tyler Hedden, member of the 863 Tribe. Briley, Zozuki, Mason Rushing, Charmy, Todd Pope, Seminole Firewater, FSU, Tony, a member of the 863 Tribe. Florida State Love, a member of the 863 Tribe. Raul Torado, Jacarius Middleton, BB, Island Boy, Brandon B, Ray Fitty, Jeff with the $5 donation. He says Randy Shannon is going to be our new linebacker coach. Sounds good to me. Wide receiver Gibbons decommitted from Florida. Appreciate you, Jeff, with the $5.
My name is Jeff.
Jay Sierra in the building. Belief Beats TV. Randy Yates. Boxing Monster. $5 donation. He says, I heard a lot of people talk about Shannon burning connections in 305 and how the game has passed him by. I think he's a good hire for us. What do you think? We're going to talk about him, but I appreciate you, Boxing Monster, a.k.a. DF. Me and Jameis, man, we thank you. Mayan King in the building. Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe. Visal Patel, what's going on with your homie? He says, hit the like button and go Knowles. $25 bomb in the building, man. I appreciate you. Definitely, homie, appreciate that. You get P-Dub for that one.
Yeah, get more money, more money. Yeah, get more money, more money.
63 Tribe. Peter Shields with the $5 sticker. No message behind it, but hey, let's go.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
FSU Rose, a member of the 863 Tribe in the building. What is the big news? Polk Jeffrey Bell says, what's going on with you? Anthony Cheers, Marcus Lewis, John White, and that's all we got for right now. 39, 49 people going on. 39 to 40 people in the chat right now. And the women's soccer team, let's congratulate them first and foremost. National champions again. Like someone said previously, we've become a women's soccer school. So shout out to those young ladies for winning the Natty. And Seminole Firewater right here just jumped the gun. But Devon Mortimer got his 4th star on the composite. Official blue chip prospect, Devon Mortimer. Shout out to him. Should be signing early next week, where I'm debating on it. I think I might do an entire like recruiting day stream there. Just so I can get my live reaction on some of these guys. If you want to see that, let me know in the chat. Put a 1 if you want me to go live during the recruiting announcements. I also got to see what my schedule is, so don't hold me to that one. If I definitely have the time, we will be live streaming for majority of that day, getting our reactions to the big announcements from Armella and Jones and you name it. That's what we're gonna be following, and y'all gonna get my live reactions on early signing day if I have the time. So that's just a little disclaimer there, but I see everybody wants that, so definitely we're gonna do that. D Thompson in the building, $5 sticker. Which one haven't we used yet? Let's get a little hurricane hate out of here.
Damn!
So let's do it. Where do we start? We started with Devon Mortimer. But I'm going to tell you what we kind of really need to... Some interesting developments. Let's get this one out the way, because I don't know how to really... I don't want to say I'm not... I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but I'll say this. There's nothing can hurt. Nothing can hurt going down there and trying for Bessant again. I'll say this much. They are apparently, Bessant just committed this past weekend, but apparently they have another in-home visit with him. So that's interesting for a kid that just committed to a school. that's interested for a kid that just committed to a school to still be hosting FSU in an in-home visit. Now, there was a lot of talks about, you know, his mother obviously was pushing for that commitment. He wasn't happy with it. I watched the video. I didn't watch it live. Obviously, I was on here when it went down live. We were watching the Georgia Bama game. I watched the video. I heard people telling me you should go watch the video. He didn't look happy. His dad didn't look happy. I think y'all are. Here's what I'll say. I think his dad looked a little bit indifferent. Like basically, whatever his son was happy with, I think he was happy with. But the people that are saying that Basaint didn't look happy in his commitment, I think you're really grasping at straws. I watched that video. Basaint looked fine. He looked like a kid who just committed to a college. He did not look unhappy to me. I don't agree with those with the people that saying that. I thought Basaint looked how a kid would look. Obviously, his mother was thrilled, and his dad, I admit, his dad looked a little indifferent. I didn't see his dad smile much, but I mean, men don't show emotions like that. It is what it is. I think that Basaint thing where people was like, he didn't look happy. I didn't get that. I did not get that when I watched that live commitment. I did not see an unhappy kid. You want to see an unhappy kid? Go watch when Copeland committed to Florida and his mother really wanted him at Bama. That was very uncomfortable to watch between those two. I didn't get that. I didn't get that from that video. I think we're grasping for straws for the people that are saying that. With that said, I think it's interesting that the family would still host a Florida State visit. Is it because Randy Shannon is now the new linebacker coach? Maybe Shannon has a different message for Basaint that Marv didn't have. Y'all know how I felt about Marv's recruitment. Speaking of Coach Marv, the new defensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, shout out to him. I hope he's successful. We don't play him every year, so it's whatever. If he has a better defense than Adam Fuller, we're going to come back and address this. But regardless, no one ever said Coach Marv couldn't coach. We just were not thrilled with his recruiting on the trail, right? So that's something to watch in the future. How does his defense over there at Virginia Tech look? Virginia Tech's not the recruiting hotbed anyway in terms of type of caliber of kids they get. So I don't think the recruiting demands or expectations are going to be as high for him over there. He'll get a chance to recruit his guys and develop them. So he doesn't have the same pressure over there. So I think that's a good spot for him, to be quite honest with you. Back to the Basaint thing. It's interesting to me that they're still there. My stance hasn't changed. This second visit is kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie, but my stance hasn't changed. I don't think he's leaving Dade County. I still think he's going to be a Hurricane. Do they just want to, obviously, they have a great relationship with Randy Shannon. Do they just want to get Shannon's vision for him before they shut it down, I guess is Basaint committed, but it doesn't look like he shut down the recruitment. So maybe they're still there. So I'm not mad at them for going in and continuing to, try to get that recruitment. I just would say don't get too hyped about it, Florida State fans, my humble opinion. And, hey, I'd much rather you go back and spin the wheels on Basaint to continue to play games with Willis. Because at this point, nobody feels good about Willis. And Willis has done nothing but play these games his entire recruitment. So do you want to keep spinning your wheels on a kid that's committed to Georgia Tech, who I think Willis is rated higher than Basaint? You can look at the tape and pick and choose who you want. I'm not going to sit here and tell you who's the better player. I actually think Willis is rated higher. Take that for what you will. But with that said, I'm not mad at him for going back. If Basaint's interested, go back and go back and see what's going on there. Firewater says Basaint just embarrassed the whole staff by committing to UM live on CBS while they were doing a slimy coach search. Why keep pursuing, buddy? He clearly stuck on Miami. Zoe says, as a South Florida native, I can tell you that some of these parents only know Miami. They don't travel outside of Palm Beach. I can see why Wesley Basaint listened to his parents. Mayan King thinks he's conflicted. Tyler says people stay lying. Island Boy says, I'm not saying it's going to happen even though I want it to, but could you imagine if he flipped to FSU on signing day? I'll say this about that. If he flipped, if somehow they got that guy, they got Wesley Saint to flip. And again, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's a pipe dream. But let's say it happened. In a dream world, he commits to Miami, and a week and a half later on early signing period, flips to Florida State. Are we questioning that Coach Marv wasn't the right guy for the job? Because I seen people, believe it or not, Twitter is an amazing place. If you're not on, I say it all the time, if you're not on FSU Twitter, it's an amazing place. It's pure entertainment, pure comedy, and pure ridiculous takes. You got FSU fans that are flat out insinuating that the only reason the defense improved today because Coach Marv had a lot to do with the X's and O's of it and the calling of the plays. The same Coach Marv, though, that was on that team last year. Now, you would make more sense if you said Randy Shannon had more to do with it because Randy Shannon wasn't on the staff last year. I saw people say, well, Coach Marv finally getting a defensive coordinator position. At least he has the title now because he was already serving that over here. A lot of insinuations to be made. Again, Twitter's amazing. Ridiculous takes all day, every day. You got fans who lie like hell on FSU, and then you got fans who are currently on their knees for Tyler hitting the nail on the head right there. Brandon Beast he co-signs with Zoe on that one. The people in Miami only know Miami. They literally are stuck in the box mentality. Yes, they did. I think that is a good hire. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know. I don't think Corey Raymond affects this recruiting class though, that y'all are losing. But that's a good potential future move. The linebacker board seemed pretty light this year. Barely hear any other names. Please don't, because there were other names. That's the sad part. That's why I said Marv needed to go. It wasn't about just Basaint. For me, it was never about Basaint. To me, Basaint was never coming to Florida State. But there were other guys that I don't even remember all their names, but the Martin and I think Shamar James is a name. EJ Lightsley. Willis was one. Tolan was another. I just listed 5 linebackers not named Wesley Basaint. You whiffed on all of them. But that's the kind of the news, kind of like that news just kind of broke out within the last hour or two that they are kind of rekindling. They kind of rekindling that. I don't know if rekindling is the right word, but they're they're going back and I guess maybe just crossing T's, dotting their I. Bro, all day, Zoe. All day, just pure entertainment, man. Only thing I tell you, if you go on there and try to, want to become, and you want to put your takes out there, people gonna come at you. If you're too positive, people gonna come at you. If you're too negative, people gonna come at you. I would say just don't take anything you see on there serious. Just don't take anything you see on there serious. That's my disclaimer for FSU Twitter. But by all means, y'all need to go out there, man, and just have a ball with it because that's what I do. But speaking of recruiting, Florida. Now, we don't really talk much about Florida on this channel because other than my resident Gator here, BB, and Destroy's another one, there just aren't a lot of Gator fans on here to really, it's not worth the troll when you don't have anybody to talk to. So we don't really go in depth on Florida, but man, Florida, Napier, he has a vision. Napier has a vision, and it doesn't involve a lot of the kids that are currently committed to Florida. They've lost their quarterback, and I'm looking for the name of this wide receiver that has a good relationship with the name with our current quarterback commit, AJ Duffy. You guys know who I'm talking about, and I can't find him. Let me go on 247. Like Jalen Gibson, I think is his name, or Gibbons. one of those. I'm about to find them real quick, so y'all know who I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I should just bring him up on the screen. But he's decommitted, and now people are thinking FSU was on the fast track for him. Jerry is Jaden Gibson out of Orlando, Florida. Winter Garden, whatever, same thing. 6'5", 185, and a lot of people feel that he. So here's kind of how this one played out. Mike Norvell and company went in to an in-home visit, and then he decommitted. Now what they're saying, and again, disclaimer, this isn't coming from me. I don't have no sources. Listen to the same stuff and read the same stuff y'all listen to. What they're saying is if they can get him on campus this weekend, they're almost 100% confident this kid's going to flip. Well, at this point, is it even a flip? But they think they can get him if they can get him on campus. They think they can get him if they can get him on campus. That's a big thing, man. I like seeing that. I'm not gonna lie, I like seeing that. 6'5", need that. I'm not very confident in Coleman. I know Mike Norvell was with him tonight, and he posted a picture of him, Mike, and Ron Dugans. So, but I don't know. I just don't feel confident in the Kevin Coleman thing. That's just my opinion. Gibbons out of Orlando area, I'm all for that. Let's get that one on board. He addresses the need. And if you can get both, well, then damn, you might have just flipped the receiver room and just one recruiting swap. You know, you still got to bring, I think, a transfer or two. But if you're telling me you're going to land Gibson, and Coleman, shout out to the staff. They got a chance to close fairly well. There's another kid at a Niceville, DB. His first name, I'm not great at pronouncing this kid's first name. Azaria. Somebody, how you pronounce this man's name? Let me find his. I'm not great. Look, man, I got a bunch of names that I go through in my head over and over, so I'm not great with the names. But here's the backstory on this kid is he was never considering Florida State. Florida State wasn't really on his board. All of a sudden, coaching staff at Oklahoma changes. The guy that was recruiting him hard at Florida has been fired. I don't know if the LSU, the new guy from LSU, can rekindle that. That'd be very interesting. But a lot of people see Florida State is trending very well right there for him. And Azaria, again, I can't pronounce this, man. Azaria Thomas at a Niceville, 6'1", 177-pound DB. Another prospect to watch. I think that he tweeted as soon as Florida hired Raymond, he tweeted that's going to be interesting to watch. Maybe that could be one of those commits that Napier is able to kind of get down the stretch. I know Florida State has kept a great relationship with him, even when he told Florida State pretty much to their face that he wasn't interested, nor would he be interested. They kept a good relationship with them, and that seems to have paid off in the long run with all these other schools. Not saying that they're not interested, but when your top schools, when LSU fires their coach, when Oklahoma, loses theirs, what does that mean for Florida State? That's an interesting one to watch. And again, I feel like I'm getting a cold, so excuse me for the sniffles. Let's see what you guys talking about in the chat real quick. Now we need a wide receiver coach. Florida doing Florida things. Tell them again, Chad. Hit the like button. 66 people, which means I should have, we'll give 6 freeloaders for the haters. So if I got 66 people, we should have 60 likes. Let's check my likes real quick. I got 44 likes, so I got way more than 6 freeloaders. Come on, guys, get that like button up. Get the like button up. Coleman going to I don't think so. I know he has a good relationship with Cristobal. Unless if Coleman visited this weekend, you might have something. I don't see that. I don't see that. He doesn't know who his offensive coordinator is going to be at this point. He doesn't know who his receivers coach. I don't see that happening. Could be wrong, obviously, but I don't see it happening. Azaria. Azaria. Okay, so Azaria. Got it. If we don't get him now, we'll get him through the portal. Yes, I'm aware of that. So that's why I say Florida's kind of back in the mix after firing the guy who was recruiting them heavy at Florida previously. They're kind of back in the mix now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. He did have a brother go to Georgia Tech, tracking that. Only positions I'm worried about are linebacker and DN in the high school recruiting. I hope we can get one of Jones. I think now Kelly, if you want to talk about the Cristobal effect, I think that had an immediate effect on Nigel Kelly. So if you had any hope of Nigel Kelly, I think you can kind of drop that in terms of who FSU is targeting as well. Like I'm not paying attention to anything else that they're doing, but Nigel Kelly, probably all Miami at this point. Absolutely been insane so far. Think about it. Oregon is now the top job on the market right now. Oregon's still one of the top jobs on. Oregon's now the top job on the market, and they could poach another school's coach. Like, absolutely insane. Let's talk about the Johnson brothers, sons of former FSU quarterback Brad Johnson and Super Bowl champion quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Max Max has hit the portal. I don't think he's officially hit it, but he's pretty much said, yeah, he's going to hit the portal. Former LSU quarterback. And Jake Johnson, I think he's like the top tight end in the country, he's one of the better tight end prospects. And you know how this staff, boy, they love them some tight ends. He has decommitted from LSU. So what's the deal there? I don't think anything official there. I would love for FSU to pursue both. I mean, hell, they recruit so many tight ends. Why not get a legit tight end prospect at this point instead of a bunch of project dudes? Since you want tight end so bad. You want a tight end so bad, let's go get us a legit one. Obviously, legacies. They were committed to LSU. I don't know how much of a relationship Brad Johnson has to Coach Norvell, and what's going on at Florida State right now. Don't know. I would like for them to pursue both. Again, I'm to the point where whether or not I believe in Travis is irrelevant. Add talent to the room, and the cream will rise, as they say. Either the pressure is going to make a diamond or bust pipes. Which one are you, a diamond or a pipe? The way I see it, I don't think Mike Norvell can be in the business of sharing people's feelings at this point. Year 3 is critical for a lot of things that's going on in the state of Florida right now. Year 3 is critical. He's got to win on the field. He falls behind on the field. With the new athletic director coming here, I think Mike's days are done. I'm telling you that right now. You win 6 games next year, Mike Norvell. I don't know much about this. We're going to get into AD stuff because I don't know much about him. I can't say whether it's a good or bad hire. From what I've read, it actually might be a very good hire for Florida State. But anyway, kind of jumping the gun there. Mike was not hired by Tyra. If he doesn't come correct next year, he probably will be out. I'll be very interested to see how that's handled. And with that being said, add talent to the quarterback room, add talent across the board. And again, you either a pipe or you a diamond, and we'll see which one pressure makes. So they should be interested in Max, in my opinion, and they should definitely be interested in Jake. And we'll see what happens with those two guys. But again, like I said, man, every single day some crazy stuff pops up in the news. Absolutely, news breaks feels like every hour, and something will probably happen within the next hour or two that we'll talk about. Yeah, the coldest. Speaking of people losing a lot of recruits, Brian Kelly ain't off to a hot start there in LSU either. They're losing damn near everybody they've had. I, for one, am glad that the staff stays on these kids when all the fans want them to give up. Marvin Jones was crystal ball to Bama by Newberg. Take from that what you will. I'm not here to bash Newberg and talk bad about Newberg. Y'all know my stance. He gonna be a Seminole. I'm speaking it into existence. And go hear Newberg's reasoning for making that crystal ball. By the way, I'll say this on the Marvin Jones recruitment. Tomorrow he's got to end home with Nick Saban and Mike. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna cap it. I'm not gonna spin it any other way but what it is. If you're telling me I got Nick Saban and Mike Norvell coming into my living room in the same day, who are you more excited to have come into your living room that day? If we're being honest, that's not a great matchup for Florida State. Not gonna lie. You know, that's Roy Jones coming in there against name him. Doesn't matter, right? Mike can either make or break his legend right there tomorrow. Like, seriously. That's the only way I can spin it positively. I'm not going to, like, it's Bama. It's Bama. It's Nick Saban. There's no other way to spin it. It is what it is. What you have to hope for Marvin Jones is that the ties, does he want, I said it before, does Marvin Jones Jr. want to be the kid to break the whole list of Jones family members that have been Seminoles? I don't know that. I don't speak to him. I don't know how he feels about that. I don't know how his family feels about that. And everybody's got their own opinions and conspiracy theories on that, you know? But Mike can make or break his legend tomorrow night. If somehow on signing day, Marvin Jones Jr. is putting on this cap, you got to think whatever he said Thursday will put Mike Norvell in the legends of Florida State. Seriously, he can start to become a legend, or you know what I mean? He can start to really solidify himself as a closer or a recruiter, but that's a tall task for any coach, let alone a Mike Norvell, if we're being honest. A lot of people are high on him. What is his name? Jarrett Verse, I believe is his name. He's getting a lot of talk. I'm not going to say Marcus Cushney burnt me, but I don't know. I watched him. He's got a good motor, but it's hard for me to, after the way Marcus Cushney looked in on that level, and he was dominant. And Cushney couldn't even get pressure on this level. I hope Cushney's a force next year, or like maybe he just needed that year to acclimate to a different level of physicality. I don't know. I would love to have him. Like you said, quality depth. I agree with that, but I think we already have quality depth. Again, I'm pretty steadfast on they've put so many scholarships into the DN. It's time to develop what you got. The good thing about Jared Verse, he's got 3 years of eligibility, so it's not like you're taking a finished product there. He's still developing, so that is a good thing, and he's worth a take. I just don't want people to expect Jermaine Johnson from him. If I'm, Jermaine. Speaking of Jermaine, he is a All-American, national All-American. Hey man, let them boys tell all their lies. Dude play like every position for his high school team. Son, don't be barging in here. I know. What up, AR? How you doing? Just catching up on the comments. Hey. So let's talk about what you doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, here he is. He's been away for a while, but he's back.
I don't know, Daddy.
Don't you got something to do?
Yeah.
Okay, go do that.
Okay.
Go watch TV or something.
Okay.
Alrighty. Appreciate you. Kushner got me scared of that DM from Albany. I want SEC transfers, right? We'll see, man. We'll see what happens. That Vince Tyra, I believe that's his name. Vince Tyra. I don't know how his last name's pronounced necessarily, but FSU's new athletic director pretty much is locked in. From everything that's being reported, Louisville has let him out of his no-compete clause. They let him out of his 30-day notice. All the paths are clear. It's being reported pretty much unanimously that FSU's new athletic director, Vince Tyra of LSU, will be. How did I word that? FSU, yeah. Louisville's athletic director will be FSU's new athletic director, Vince Tyra. Pretty much the consensus there. I don't know anything about him, man, to be really have an opinion on it. Like I had the guy who I wanted just because, you were able to see his on-campus work. You were able to see as a Florida State fan what Alford was bringing to the table. So that's where I always kind of stood. It's pronounced Tyre. Okay, so Tyre. But shout out to Brandon B because he dropped some nuggets on me. And basically, I heard two key words that has me sold. Again, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about hiring an athletic director. I saw a lot of people, again, go to Twitter, man. Twitter's amazing. No, this hire sucks. People don't even know who your starting corner is, but they claim they know all about a athletic director hires. And people claim that it, was a bad hire. I heard two key words. He got facilities built at Louisville, and he's good at fundraising money. Sign me up. Sign me up. All day, every day. If this man's going to come in here, only thing I ask is that he puts football number one. As long as he's putting football number one focus, please. We need all of that anyway. We need facilities and all that other stuff. So I'm not going to pretend like I know who he is, if he's a good hire, bad hire. I hope FSU just being serious about football. And as long as if this guy's the right guy, we're going to find out. Ray 50 brings up, what do you think of Dilly interviewing with Auburn? I don't know why he would go back there after leaving there. So that one's interesting to me. I don't put much stock in it. And I've seen no official reports that he interviewed for Auburn. So I mean, if he leaves, Mike go out there and make another hire. Excuse me. Mike has a good track record of his assistants going on and being, getting bigger jobs. But he left Auburn to come to Florida State. So why would he backtrack that? Could he be using Auburn as a pay raise? He could. I don't think that's anything to worry about if you're worried. So I know some people would want that to happen. I'm not too worried there. POLK our DN is in the portal, Landon Jackson. If you want, listen, Anthony, I don't mean to that's one of those kids. Listen, if you don't know who that kid is, you can go Google some of the worst workout film that you've ever seen, and it's his name is attached to it. Now his tape is so listen, I think that's a player that was a bunch of hype and not really the guy. I'm not gonna, and he eventually got downgraded to a 4-star. Just go watch him hit the dummies, and you tell me that's a 5-star talent. I was hoping for Tyber Banks. I don't get attached to any coach. It's family one. Landon Jackson has a cool bald head. I wouldn't even go that far. I'm not going to say what I want to say because it'll probably be insensitive. But yeah. So I heard, so that's not official. So I think what's really kind of been official is he will be the next linebacker coach. There's some rumors. Again, I don't think anything's official, but he might get the co-DC tag as well. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. I personally had been calling for Randy Shannon to be your linebacker coach from the jump, if you guys remember. With that said, should FSU maybe have taken more time in the process? Well, you kind of have a guy like that in Randy already on staff, and he's down in South Florida. We know he's got relationships with people down in South Florida. Who would people's really who would you really want? I saw people Ernie Sims. I would like Ernie Sims. I think my problem with Ernie Sims is I haven't heard much about Ernie Sims as far as a recruiter goes. Like, I'm all for bringing back the FSU guys, but I know he coaches at USF, and I know he's coached at FAU, I believe. I don't know how much Ernie Sims. I haven't heard Ernie Sims be like a killer on the recruiting trail. So that's kind of my thing there. I think Randy Shannon's good. Okay? He's not as long as he's not your full-time D coordinator. As a matter of fact, I think making him co-defensive coordinator is a plus. I think having him and Fuller put their minds together is better than just having one or the other. Right? So we'll take it at that. And as far as resumes go, if you really look at Randy Shannon's resume as a linebacker coach, he's arguably like one of the top 5 linebacker coaches across the country. So that's how I feel. LOL, I didn't have anything nice to say either about him, so I said that. There you go. And again, man, if you just go watch his tape, I'm not going to get hyped. There's a reason some of these guys hit the portal, and that, to me, is not one of those guys to get hyped about. Oh, man. Excuse me, I think I'm getting the cold. Shannon is one who has been calling all that quarters coverage anyway. Derek Nicholson, Ernie Sims. How much time can you take to hire a linebacker coach right now with everybody traveling and making visits? Norvell made a quick hire to keep continuity going, in my opinion. Maybe should have took more time. Randy obviously gels with the rest of the staff as well. Benefit of test running the hire via the analyst position. USF linebackers aren't good, and no big-time linebackers ever talk about them, so no. Same problems as now, sounds like. There you go. I hope we don't put the pressure on Hunter. Just use him sparingly and recruit some of the talent to go along with him. What do you mean by that, Panama Jack? I don't understand that comment. That you say we hope we don't put much pressure on Hunter. Just use him sparingly and recruit some other talent to go along with him. You think Hunter is coming in 5-star, highest rated DB of all time to be used sparingly. Come on now. We need tackles. If Fabian Lovett, we know Coop's coming back. If Lovett comes back, you're getting Briggs back. I don't think the need for tackles is that pressing, to be honest with you, Tom Pope. And quite frankly, they're signing a good tackle class with Bishop Thomas, Daniel Lyons. And of course, we still got to wait and see if we land Tyree West, but all signs are pointing positively towards Tyree West. I think our defensive tackles are in a great, great position. I didn't even mention Joshua Farmer, Malcolm Ray, Jarrett Jackson, all those guys popped last year, so that they have been developed and improving. I think we're very good. We're good to very good at the defensive tackle position. Hiring Randy is the Bama formula. Hire a bunch of failed head coaches and give them a position. True. I think we land all our big recruits because Mike Norvell telling them we need y'all very bad, and we can run the ACC soon. How do you think Mackenzie Milton influences future FSU QBs when he's no longer here? I don't think he has any influence, unless you're telling me Mike keeps him on as a GA. That'd be interesting to see. That's actually been rumored that Milton's going to go into coaching. So that's going to be interesting to see. But unless he's on the staff, Milton doesn't have any influence, in my opinion. No, Hunter needs exactly. Hunter's going to play, like, again, highest DB of all time, number one player in the nation. He didn't come to be used sparingly. He's going to play both sides of the ball. Now, offensively, I think he'll be used in situations and sparingly, but he's going to play. Travis is a big-time player. He used to pressure and spotlight. That's true, too. I mean, you say don't burn him out, and I hear you. He's already said he's not much of a special teams guy. But he does that in high school. Like you're saying, don't burn him out. DB, wide receiver, that's too much pressure on one man. He's arguably, I think, I'll say this. When he went down with the injury, that team was still able to go undefeated. And now they're in the state championship. So there obviously were more than just him. But he does all of that in high school anyway. They use him everywhere. He's the focal point of offense and defense. I mean, it won't be nothing that he's not used to. Yes, the college game is different, and we'll see, but I think he'll be fine. I think Briggs will come back. We might get Dante Anderson, D-Ed, and teammate of Daniel Lyons. It's been rumored. Linebackers are the biggest need. Linebackers are our biggest need for sure. Then wide receivers and O-line. Hell, you kind of put quarterback in there too. So, but yeah, I agree with you, John. Hunter needs to play receiver. I think he will play some receiver. But when it starts coming push to shove, I think you'll see him focus primarily on DB. And if they close with a decent receiving class, and they look like they're in a great position for the Oregon transfer, Pittman, I believe is his last name, Hunter might not really need to be used as receiver unless, in certain situations. With the way the receivers are, you can't tell me Hunter ain't going to play receiver. They want to line up Briggs at DN. That makes sense with the way, you just lost two guys, right? You think McClendon and Quayshawn Fuller or you hope they step into that role. You hope Cushney steps into that role. But I think Briggs would kind of be the surefire thing there. So I agree with that, Dylan. I think that probably will be a move for them. We need to get any SEC offensive line from the portal. The lineman I want from the portal as of right now, and there's going to be other guys that emerge. But this is how I know this kid's good. That FIU transfer is getting offers from every top college in the country. And I don't blame him because he's taken every visit. I think it was at UCLA today. I think he's had contact with Jimbo Fisher over at A&M. All of those colleges want him. That would be the guy that I would want. Hopefully an easy pull since he went to FIU. Don't know where he's originally from. I'd have to look that up. If we can flip Gibson, get Coleman, how many wide receivers from the portal do we get? I would still take 2. I would still take 2. 1 for sure, because Gibson and Coleman is an upgrade from what Gibson. If your recruiting class is Gibson, Coleman, and Mortimer, that's real dope. That's real dope. I would still probably shoot for 2. Yeah, I would still shoot for 2. ACC need, and by the way, guys, I know we're talking a lot about Hunter. Sam McCall's definitely going to play special teams. Sam McCall is a guy that I think people are really sleeping on with the ball in his hands. I actually think if there was one player that you would make a permanent offensive player between those two, I feel like I've always said this from the jump. I feel like Sam McCall is more, and it's hard to say that he's more of a natural than Travis Hunter. So that's not what I'm saying. But as far as his skill set goes, I think Sam McCall is more natural with the ball in his hands on the offensive side of the ball. Then defensively, I see a little bit of lapses in his game where he's definitely not a corner in my opinion, and he's definitely more of a over-the-top safety type. But offensively, I think he's just a natural with the ball in his hands. What if we land Pittman? Hill is still reportedly coming in January. Gibson. I'm hearing Camden Brown's not really being pursued that hard anymore, Rose. They're not really. He's there, but he's not. So at this point, I would kind of say I would almost pretty much bet Camden Brown not be in this class. But hell, even those first 3 are good, you know. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle, 6'5", 360 out of Duncanville, Texas, just decommitted from Oregon. Have you heard anything about him? I'm aware of the name. I know some people that went and watched him. They called him Big Lazy. That's kind of their assessment of him. That's their assessment, not mine. Don't know if FSU has any interest in him. 2 receivers out the portal. If you miss on Coleman, I think if you land Coleman, you still get 2 receivers. Like, look, I know Coleman's a 5-star and all that good stuff. Hey, again, you get as much talent on this roster as you can. $5 from Jeff. He says this might be a pipe dream if we get Coleman, Gibson, and still get Hill. I don't know if that's a pipe dream. Again, I don't think we're getting Coleman. And by all reports, again, from you guys' favorite insiders, Dustin Hill will be on campus in January. So if that's true, and Hill is guaranteed at this point, Gibson is trending very well at this point, and Coleman, they're in it, but regardless of what I think, a lot of your insiders think FSU is on the right track for Coleman. I don't know if that's really a pipe dream. I'm so happy all this dead weight has finally hit the portal. McCluster, McCray, Thompson, etc. I got some prediction for who's next. Oh, they're not. It's definitely not done. Carter Boatwright hit the portal too. Don't forget him. One of those great tight ends. McCall isn't anywhere near the wide receiver that Hunter is. No, he's not. Who do you think the next player from FSU is getting in the portal? Oh, that's what we were just talking about. Again, Corey Wren wouldn't shock me. Corey Wren, trying to think of another guy. Corey Wren, a Ronaldo Green. Those guys wouldn't shock me. Today's football is offensive oriented. Who would make sense to get the ball in the hands of explosive players it would make sense to get their hands of explosive players like Hunter and McCall. Dennis? How are you? That's what they're saying. Some guys leaving that wide receiver room wonder who. Probably, again, Jordan Young. Outside of that, there's not a lot of bodies. I mean, we can count them, right? Kentron Portier, Williamson, Jordan Young, Ontario Wilson, Keyshawn Helton, Malik McLean, Joshua Burrell. Hell, that might be it. Am I missing somebody? I think that's it. I might be, man. I think that's it. Ain't no bodies really. Jordan Young is probably. Oh, Ja'Kai Douglas. There's 8. So 8. We got 8 receivers. Ja'Kai ain't going nowhere. Malik McLean ain't going there, and Burrell ain't going nowhere. Those are the ones that I'm pretty confident on that ain't going anywhere. I don't think Ontario's going anywhere, and I think they'll allow Keyshawn Helton to stick around. But all 3 of them other guys, Williamson, I think he probably sticks around. But Portier, did he get any snaps this year? And we already know about Jordan Young. So we might lose two receivers. They might have 6 scholarship without counting any wide receiver commits or transfer portal guys. That's why they need to take, I don't care who you recruit, that's why they still need to take about 3 wide receivers. Again, I'm sniffling a lot. Those stuff. Yeah, I feel like I'm catching a cold. Somebody said Travis J. Corey Wren. I think Corey Wren's going to hit it. I think Ronaldo Green's going to hit it. I think Jordan Young. I'm not too sure about Brandon Gant. But it's possible because he did not play a lot of football down the stretch. Yeah, I don't think that's too much of a bold prediction. I think DeMauri's probably out. Or it was a good chance, you know. But DeMaury Tate has a lot of eligibility left, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. DeMaury Tate has also dealt with academic issues and injuries, so we'll see. Douglas, I don't think Ja'Kai Douglas hits the portal. Unless you were saying that was one of the receivers I was forgetting. Yeah, no matter how much I count, there's not a lot of talent in that receiving room. Exactly. I don't think Mari's going anywhere. Next, Kelvin Benjamin. I think we got to get rid of that. There is, what, size-wise? Malik McLean's, he has the size, but, yeah, I agree with that, John White. Gainer's not going nowhere. Our AD was handcuffed by our Prez, who wants to de-emphasize athletics. Finch tried to fire Satterfield and got told no, among other things. Y'all getting a good AD. Well, I appreciate you coming in here with some insight, Chris, because I don't follow. I think any fan, like you're a Louisville fan, so you obviously probably you follow the team, so you got a little bit of insight on that. Any of your average fans that claim that they know anything about athletic director hires, I think are whatever. But what you just said is something that some other people have told me, that you guys' athletic department is kind of in disarray. And that's one of the reasons why Tyree, how you pronounce it, wants out of there, right? So I hope we're getting a good one. McLean is the next KB as far as size, but I think his upside is higher. We can take 32, just got to keep trimming this fat. Absolutely. If we got our Mella, Coleman West, and Marvin Jones Jr. on top of what's committed, I will be stoked. I think we get 3 of the 4 that you just named, because I don't think we get Coleman. I think the other 3, I think 2. So here, out of those 4 names, Raymond, the chances that we go 4-0, I think are slim. The chances that we go 3-4 are solid. Go to Andrea. And the chances that we probably go 2 or 4 is probably, that's probably your highest chance. I think everybody is pretty much saying Armella's a lock at this point. Tyree West is one other lock at this point, even though he's still taking his visits. And obviously, I don't think we're getting Coleman, so that's my take there, even though everyone else is saying we're still on a good track for him. And I think we're getting Marvin Jones Jr., even though everyone else is saying he's going to Bama. So y'all stay safe out there. I'm just getting over a 4-day cold, and my son tested positive for COVID. Yes, I hope you guys stay safe for sure. Hope y'all feel better. I think I'm just getting a cold. I don't think it's anything serious, but hope your son is all right, man. Rodemaker might be next. I don't think Rodemaker's leaving. Emmett Weiss declared for the draft. That's going to be tough. He didn't play. Now we can say, well, Nasruddin didn't play, but Emmett Rice don't have the measurables that Hamza Nasruddin had. Nasruddin turned into a 6'4" linebacker at the next level. I don't know if Emmett Rice has those same measurables and attributes. Honestly, he probably doesn't He probably doesn't, but crazier things happen, right? Remember, I told you earlier that Louisville administration was in the way. Yep, you did. If FSU was going to take advantage of signing 32, they need at least 15 more players to go. I think we could sit here and name a good amount. I don't know. Let's do it. I think Wren's out of there. Jordan Young's out of there, and another receiver. I'll say Jordan Young and Portier out of there. That's already 3. I don't think any more quarterbacks leave. Tight end, they've already lost Carter Boatwright, and I believe Rector's graduating. But we won't count Rector because I don't know for sure there. So we got 4. We got Boatwright. Marcus and Douglas is probably gone. So let's count him out. That's 5. I think you probably lost all your O linemen at this point. They've already lost. Hold on, True Thompson. They've lost Jalen Goss, Ira Henry. So we're already up to 9. 8, excuse me. We're already up to 8. Obviously, I added Marcus and Douglas in there. And I added the 2 receivers. Defensive, they lost. I add True Thompson. That makes 9. I don't know if we lose any DNs. Though you could see a what about Leonard Warner? Would he count? I think Leonard Warner might actually still have another year of eligibility because of his, would Leonard Warner count? They've already asked a couple linebackers. I think we can get up to 15. I think we can get up to 15. Obviously, I was adding names that already left. So if we try to just come up with brand new names, I mean, would Leonard Warner count? Would Marcus and Douglas count? The 2 wide receivers that I mentioned. Another D tackle. I don't know if there's another D tackle that would leave. You already lost your linebackers. Probably a couple DBs can get you up to 6. I don't know. Numbers might be tough to correct. I'd have to get the roster in front of me and just see. Ain't it crazy? We sitting here trying to crunch numbers, and Bama and the other schools don't seem to have that problem, right? My personal opinion, a little bit. Our chances went up with Coleman because of Oregon situation and Cristobal leaving. I think Coleman slide to Tally. Vince won't be scared to get rid of Mike quickly if he doesn't improve. He knows football, has good contacts too, very strong fiscally as well. There you go. I said that though. I said if Mike don't come if he don't put something on the field next year, I think he's out. Rice already declared. He already said he's out. Douglason. Y'all think Quayshawn Fuller and McClendon go? If you lose Quayshawn Fuller and McClendon, then you definitely are rehauling your defensive end room. That's why I don't think either one. I think both of those guys are going to come into next year with expectations of being the 2 starters. So I don't think they're going anywhere. Cluster McCray already gone. Definitely Demore Tate. Talked about him. TJ, I forgot about TJ Davis. Yeah, definitely. TJ Davis. Get him off the books. Hell, maybe Dix. I don't know if they've given up on Dix. I guess Miami's back in his top 3 because of Cristobal. Gant's probably going to get pushed. What up, Irv? DeKalin Brooks declared for the draft, so I didn't count him. Again, I talked about him. I saw his tape. Solid motor. Looks like a solid player. Again, I'm Marcus Cushy got me a little bit about those type of DNs. No one's calling for Novell. At least I'm not calling for Novell to be fired. I said, but if he doesn't get done on the field next year, yeah, he's out. Done. Dunsky. Over. So what else? What else? What haven't we covered? I think we touched on everything already in an hour. We touched on pretty much. We touched on Randy Shannon. We touched on the AD stuff. We touched on, our recruiting targets. Touched on damn near everything. So y'all got questions or what we gonna do here for the next, next little while? What's your opinion on half the fan base practically worshiping the rivals any chance they get? I'll say this about that. Bill Napier came out in his press conference and he told Gator fans, excuse me, he told Gator fans, he said, be patient with me. And I'm just not saying what he said verbatim, but you guys will get the gist. He basically said, scare money don't make money. Be patient with me. You're not going to like with the stuff that happens immediately, but we'll work into something in the future. Right? And I thought that was a smart move by him because you temper your expectations. When and I don't want to bring up good old Willie, but one of the things that worked against Taggart, he came in with the whole war daddies and war mamas, and we're winning right away because this roster's stacked. Well, you created those expectations. Here you are. You didn't really view the room before you said that and said, yeah, we got talent. And that team you took over did have talent. They had Cam Akers and Brian Burns and so on and so forth. We can name the talent. But he also had a lot of cancer. He also had a lot of guys who weren't bought in, da-da-da-da. All right? So he went out there and he told Florida fans, like, look, pump the brakes, man. And I'm gonna get. This is all going back to your question, Tyler. Believe me, I'm gonna circle back. And since he's came out and said that, they've had a ton of decommitments. They've had guys transfer out of the program. They've had all of that stuff. Well, I bring up all of that. I bring up all of that to say I'm watching fellow Florida State fans praise the way Napier moves. Saying, hey, I like what Napier's doing. He's changing stuff. He everybody knows this was gonna happen. He's doing the right moves, man. He's getting the old stuff out. He's gonna get the new stuff in there. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing. Like, I think Cristobal's gonna run into his own thing. It's just the transition that happens when you change a coach like that. And you change it with this early signing period. This stuff is going to happen. But I remember Jeff Sims leaving. I remember Mike Norvell doing this same thing. Jeff Sims was let go. He actually brought in 2 quarterbacks. Napier ain't even brought in any commits to replace what he's losing. Mike actually brought in 2 quarterbacks to replace Sims, and our fan base killed Mike Norvell for cutting bait with prospects that he didn't recruit, that weren't his guys. But they're praising Napier for doing the same thing. They're praising Napier. Oh, he didn't recruit these guys. He wants to get his own guys, da-da-da-da. That's kind of where I'm going with this. But at this point, we know what we're dealing with the Florida State fan base. There is pro Willie is still out there, but they've turned from pro Willie because they can't defend Willie anymore because he sucks at FAU and he took over an 11-win team over there, right? So they can't defend Willie over there. So now it's no matter what Norvell does, we got to destroy it. Norvell could land Coleman, Marvin Jones Jr., Tyree West, and Kamari Wilson. And somebody would say, well, he still didn't get a top-notch quarterback, or we didn't sign a top-notch. Like, you're either on this Mike Norvell destruction bandwagon, or unfortunately, you're on the Mike Norvell, I want to caress his disclaimer. I want to, he can do no wrong. Because those guys are out there too. Those guys are out there too. I've seen people say, "Oh, you shouldn't criticize Chris Marv. Don't criticize the coaching staff. It doesn't help anything. We're building something. You guys are always criticizing the coaching staff. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point." What I always tell you guys, I criticize when it's time to, and also praise when it's time to. When Mike does something I like, I'm on him, or I'm with him. When he makes a stupid 4th down call and inside your own 30-yard line, I'm on his ass. But you can't be impartial like me, or you can't ride this fence like me. You got to, at some point, it's like people want you to choose a side. Well, I refuse to, but long-winded rant over to address that question. What up, Irvs? We've been talking about everything. The AD hired, Randy Shannon, new linebacker coach / potentially your new defensive co-defensive coordinator. The Florida decommitments and who we kind of trending for, and that everything. You name it, we've been talking about it. Who do you think about bringing T-Rob in as a DC? The T-Rob that was in Miami? They are trying to sign. They're trying to flip early. That's one of the guys he's kind of focused in on our side. He's focusing on early out of Texas. He made too many 4th down gambles that a freaking special team needs to improve. I'm also level-headed. Things in my past have made me that way. People out here writing dissertations filled with excuses for Marv's shortcut. Did you see that, Brandon? I'm glad somebody saw that, though. I'm telling you, man, people were literally saying Marv, oh, he was a great man. Like, get it, bro. No one's attacking Marv the man. Like, of course he's a great guy and a husband and he can't recruit. You don't have to put out a whole eulogy from Coach Marv. You don't have to do it. Absolutely, Chad. I actually did talk about that. You guys are signing Corey Raymond as your DC. I talked about it. If Taggart gets fired, he can coach with Dion. I don't know if FAU's going to fire him down there. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to fire. They're going to fire him. But again, that was just my long, little drawn out spiel on the fan base. But it's also gotten to a point where it doesn't affect me. There was a time where it kind of bothered me. Like I always had to defend myself because I like something about Mike that I didn't like about Willie, or I like something about Willie that I didn't like about Mike. And it's got to the point where I don't do that anymore. I don't care. I try not to bring, at this point, I try not to bring Willie up because he's long gone, ain't coming back, won't be back. There's still certain comparisons that sometimes I feel like I need to make when looking at the two things, but try not to bring Willie up anymore. I support my coach, whoever it is, as long as he brings in the recruits and wins. I mean, that's what we do, right? We're going to support a guy if he wins, and we're going to not support a guy if he loses. I feel like people I don't necessarily feel like it's because I think it's the amount of time that Taggart got that makes people really attack Mike. It's the time that he got, and it's also, again, I gave Corbin his roses. I gave Corbin his roses because I feel like in a tough time, he came out here and he came out and was able to get Florida State through a tough financial time. But again, Corbin didn't do himself any favors when he said 6-6 wasn't good enough, and he could have fired Willie for any reason. He could have brought up a lot of things because if you know, like I always say, if you know, you know. A lot of dysfunctional things behind the scenes that he could have fired Taggart for, which he did fire him for. But to go publicly and say 6-6 isn't good enough, give the impression that that's the reason why he got fired. Well, you set Mike up pretty bad because now Mike has been 3-6 and now 5-7. So if 6-6 wasn't good enough, well, damn it, Mike Norvell's not good enough. And that I agree 100% with people on. That I can't defend. I don't even try to defend it. So when you say that as your athletic director, understand you set the next guy up for that type of scrutiny. Corbin should have kept his mouth shut. He either should have said, hey, Willie's just not getting the job done. And so we had to let him go. Or he should have, just fired him and kept his mouth shut and said, we're moving in a different direction. He had to hold a press conference, and that 6-6 message to this day still looms because Mike ain't broke 500 yet. That's the only defense I can. That's what's indefensible about that. No, I think that's a good hire for y'all. I don't think it affects y'all's recruiting class so much this year, but I think that's a good move. I mean, that dude's a legend in Louisiana, so I think that's a good move, honestly, Chad, to be honest with you. My people wondering what you think about Ty. I don't know anything about him. Yeah, you want to shoot me a link, but honestly, bro, I don't know anything about ADs. I'm not going to pretend. Like I said it before. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about him. You can tell me as being a Louisville guy, but I don't know anything about him. I heard one of your guys came in here and said he was a good AD. You might have a different opinion. But I want to get this out here. Corey Copeland, man, with the $50. Shout out to hitting the Cash App. He says, for POLK, my FSU brother, 100. Shout out to Corey Copeland, man. I appreciate the $50 bomb, bro.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
So the crystal ball let T-Rob go? I would not be mad if you want to bring him on campus. Oh, that's OG Kane. All right. Appreciate that, OG. See, you didn't have to send another $5 to tell me it was you, bro, but I appreciate you, dog. OG with another 5 says it's OG Kane. Hey, man, I appreciate that. So you know what that means. Now that I know that it's OG, one of them hurricanes, I got something for you, OG.
What's in my pocket, dog? Big face Honda. Just left them all. Bought everything that I wanted.
Not bad, y'all. Just making sure I'm going through the phone here. All right. Yeah, if you want to bring T-Rob on staff, I'm cool with that. But automatically D coordinator, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Taggart lost half my respect when he didn't burn Blackman's red shirt against NC State to get us to the bowl game. At least they had the dignity to fire Willie and then go hire a new coach. Unlike Manny, right? I hate it when he said that 6-6 message when he fired Taggart. Made it all about games and not about everything else that was happening. Absolutely. That was my point, Firewater. That's 100% my point. Like you said, that's 100% the point. If you're a Florida State fan, you know it was a mess, organizational wise. Missing walkthroughs on game day and recruit. You know it. I don't have to report it. All your favorite outlets already done slandered Willie enough. So we know the background. Willie Taggart himself came out and said he wasn't ready for the Florida State job. He wanted too much too soon and didn't know how to handle it. He said that in an interview himself. So you don't got to take my word or any of the. Taggart came out and said that he wasn't really ready for that job. But when Corbin came out with the 6-6 message, he set Mike Norvell up for all the scrutiny. And what can you say? There's no defense. I can't be like, well, he didn't really mean it. Hey, Corbin himself said 6-6 wasn't good enough. So here we are, 3-6 and 5-7 2 years later. By that standard, Mike should be gone. Polk, we have a lot of fans that are just toxic as hell. Some don't even know crap about football, let alone players' names. They just want to talk down about the team, whether they play good or bad. Briley says, Chad, unless he's bringing transfers and commits with him, which he very well may, that hiring alone shouldn't cause anyone to climb off the ledge. I don't think that hire affects them too much. It could get him. I pronounced his name earlier and I already forgot that quick. But it could get him Azaria Thomas. It could. Okay, Mayfordville says he's good. Cristobal and T-Rob got into it back in the day. Okay, so T-Rob won't be being kept by Cristobal. Okay. T-Rob can't be any worse than Fuller. I mean, I hear you. Again, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but does T-Rob have any prior defensive coordinator experience? And again, for everybody that wants to bash good old Adam Fuller, and I've been one of the spearheads of that, the man's defense in 1 year increased over 50 spots. And what did I say? Again, I got to keep my same energy. I said before the season, if Fuller can get us a top 50 defense, I'll shut up. Well, 54 isn't top 50, but from where it came from, I see the improvement. Okay? But next year is going to be money year for everybody, right? I thought Blackman was good until he became the starter. In the Blackman's defense, he had to deal with too much coaching turnover. Played way before he was supposed to play. Blackman was one of those kids you were supposed to sit for 3 years, and then eventually get him out there. And had to deal with too much coaching turnover for Blackman to really ever be successful. It's unfortunate. He just got dealt a raw hand there, though. No, nor will his shoe tweets. Norvell said he has 2 years to build. Hey, if Norvell said it himself that he had 2 years, well, guess what? Year 3, I hope he's putting all his chips in the middle of the table. And he should be. Again, new AD, Tyre, however it's pronounced. He's gonna, I think, from what Louisville guys are saying, he's not gonna play with Mike. Mike's probably gonna have a short leash, a 1 year leash. Mike got to load up on all the talent he can, close hard in this recruiting cycle, and then hit the portal even harder. I'll be honest with you. Just looking at the team, I don't expect to see the same O-line at all. I think you're going to have at least 3 new starters on that O-line. There's no way. If you're serious about winning, Maurice Smith can't be your starting center. And I'm hearing they feel real good about that Wisconsin center. A center from Wisconsin, man, you take that any day. Gibbons is a lock starter. Outside of that, I don't think there is another lock starter. Because I'm telling you right now, I think our 2 tackles are good, but they can be upgraded. And their plan is to go after a tackle in the portal. I think you have a minimum of 3 new starters on that offensive line, including your center, one of the guards, and definitely I think one of those tackles get upgraded. Now, maybe you move one of those tackles inside, but I don't think so. So, yeah, Mike's got to win next year. Should be revamping the O-line. Should be revamping your receiver room. You better get some linebackers to give Deloach a break, to get Lundy off the field. The only thing we can say we're confident in is that the DB room got better as the year went on. Oh, and they're adding 2 5-stars. One's the greatest high school football player in history. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of excuses in year 3, man. I'm just being honest. I agree with that, Panama. I think Mike used most, if not all, the wiggle room he had this year. Mike would have had more wiggle room if that Jacksonville State loss didn't happen. I'm not even going to lie to you. That Jacksonville State loss happened, and you had another losing season and missed the bowl game. Because if you beat Jacksonville State, you're in the bowl game with a chance to have a 7-6 record at the end of this, and say you had a winning season. And what did I say before? It's a lot easier to sell 7-6 than 5-7. Jacksonville State could come back to haunt that man, but we'll find out in the we will know later on down the line. My problem with that, Briley, is he wasn't the only coach that dealt with that, though. What did Dave Aranda do in his first season? Dave Aranda's second season, Baylor just won the Big 12. I think it went 10-2. Lane Kiffin had the same situation in Ole Miss. I believe he won 10 games this year. What about your boy over there at Michigan State? Damn near had a playoff berth. See, my problem with that argument is it goes out the window because every other coach seemed to be able to adjust. And this isn't me bashing Mike. Again, I want Mike to be great. The excuses don't fly. Mike wasn't the only coach that dealt with that. Now, I will say that Mike had somewhat of a unique situation with the roster he inherited still being as toxic as it was. No doubt about it. And maybe some of those other institutions and programs didn't have to deal with that type of roster transition. But again, Michigan State, it's been well talked about in the media what Mel Tucker did in the portal with them. Mel Tucker's pretty much built the Michigan State in 1 year in the portal. So you can't tell me it can't be done. It can be done. And Mike wasn't the only one dealing with those situations. 8-4 next year, 7-5. I think 7 games ain't enough. I'm not gonna lie to you, Simple Firewater. I don't think 7 games gets the job done. Let me tell you why. Clemson's losing their offensive coordinator, who I think he flew out today. He's all but expected to take the Virginia job. Venables is now out of the ACC, thank God, and he's taking the Oklahoma job. So what is Clemson? Dabo's got to replace all of that. If you don't know anything, I'll tell you this from the jump. Dabo, he's the figurehead, but he ain't the driving force of what that Clemson thing became. Venables was. That team didn't take off until Brent Venables became that defensive coordinator. We're not going to get into a Clemson talk. Clemson ain't going to be the same. First year Billy Napier, you see they're 73 in recruiting right now. Don't expect a great class even if they close somewhat decent. Same thing with Cristobal over there at Miami. If you're expecting 10 wins first year, woo, Miami fans are hilarious. Same coach that just got blown out twice this year by Utah. but had the most talented team in the Pac-12. But we're not going to get into that. LSU, Brian Kelly. What is he? All the Louisiana kids are leaving LSU, and they're losing all their coaches. Man, the schedule sets up too well next year. Schedule sets up too. You don't play North Carolina. I think you play Georgia Tech next year. There's no way she'll lose your FCS game. The schedule set 7-5 would be a disappointment. Wake is going to come back down to earth. Louisville still have Cunningham, so they'll be a tough one. NC State should come back down to earth. Like, I don't know. 7-5. I think that seat's hot at 7-5. I'm not gonna lie to you. 8-4. I think he's safe. 8 plus. I think he's safe. 8 plus. I think he's safe. 7. Anything under 8. I don't think I think that seat gets. That seat warms up. What up with Rod Orr? I think they sat him out this year on purpose. I think you should see a guy next year with some more body definition and ready to compete for a spot. My opinion, though. How long can he be allowed to not win? It's time to win, y'all. Is that too much to ask? Maybe, but it's time to get the job done. This is like, here's the thing. Yeah, we can blame Fuller for that final call, and that's fine. But y'all do understand, what did we score? We only scored 17 points in the game. So if there's one coach that should have been called, your offensive coordinator or whoever was calling the plays. Like, at the end of the day, you held Jacksonville State to enough points that you should have won the game comfortably. You didn't put any points on the board. 5 of our 7 losses came by 10 p.m. Eastern time. Came by 10 points. 3 of those came by 3 points. We're close. We've beaten ourselves most of the time. It's Notre Dame, Jacksonville State, Clemson. That's Florida State's fault. They're the ones that fired Taggart. That's Florida State's fault. Again, Corbin made that excuse, and I'm not buying it, and I don't buy it. That's Florida State's fault. Okay? You're right. They did have 2 transition classes, damn near a year apart, but the FSU didn't care about that when they hired Mike. And quite frankly, you can make that excuse for Mike. No one's going to care about it when they're looking at the resume, when they're looking at the record. Yeah, I understand that. We had the youngest team last year. We came into the year with another young team. I am understanding of that. Again, I understand the build. I understand the climb. How long are we going to keep using that excuse, though? You had 2 years to figure it out. Year 3, there is 0 excuse. And if you guys want to continue to make excuses for Mike, then you're accepting the state of this program. I don't accept it, but I am willing to understand that there's a build. We did improve. But I love Tyler. You got to win. You have to win. There's not a coach in the history of sports that's been allowed to lose. Well, I won't say in history of sports, obviously, but 9 out of 10 times, man, coaches has to win. Thank you, Firewater. Again, absolutely. 8 plus, I think he's fine. Anything less than 7, Mike's seat's very hot. And if you dare flirt with a losing season again, he's done. 8 wins plus, he's good. If he gets to 10 wins, hell, he might get an extension. 8 plus, he's good. 7 wins, it's hot. 6 and below, he might get fired. At this point, Raymond, it doesn't matter. Do you think Florida, LSU, you think they asked those questions? Miami, did they ask those questions? No, they went and poached who they wanted. Say what you want about Miami, and we can definitely rag on those guys. They put their money where their mouth is and nut it up, and went and got the guy that they coveted. Again, you get a new AD in here. Don't tell me Florida State can't pay $8 million a year for a coach, because you're paying $120 million to sit in Boca right now and not even make bowl games at FAU. They have the money to do it. They've always had it. Are you willing to finally spend it? Again, I'm not calling for Mike, but if you lose again next year, yeah, you got to go. They have the money to spend. Identify somebody who you want, like USC did. And you're gonna have to pay $8 to $9 million, but that's the new ball in college. That's the new ball in college. Mel Tucker's making 9.5. Mario's making 8 for 10 years. Lincoln Riley's making a gazillion dollars at USC. Kelly's making 10 mil at LA. Guess what? That's the going price right now for coaches. So if that means you got to pay Luke Fickell $9 million and get him out of Cincinnati, well then damn it, you do it. And that's just a name. I'm not saying that he's the name. I'm just throwing a name out there. But there's a million coaches around there that are having a ton of success at programs that, if you're serious about winning football, Florida State can do it. It's just a matter of, do they do it? Yeah, true. That's true. Lanning's probably gonna. I would assume when Lanning's ready to leave Georgia, it'd be for a head coaching job, I think. Seven six ain't gonna get it done, man. 7-6 next year is just not gonna get it done. And that schedule's not as tough as we're making it out. Hell, that schedule didn't end up being as tough as we thought it was gonna be this year. Because Miami and Florida sucked. Would he get swiped? That's an interesting question. I don't know if he would get swiped. 10-2, 11-1 would be they would have to give him an extension or so. You know how that goes, Kusami. I'm gonna put pressure on him just because I believe you've had 2 years to build this thing up, 3 years. If we're going into year 3 and we're still at 6 and 7 wins, the message is getting lost. You can't keep selling recruits that. So that's where I'm at. But no, you're right. Yeah, absolutely, VJ. The game plan was the problem. They went into that game wanting to play some funky stuff with the quarterback and put them both on the field at the same time. And like you said, they wanted to treat that like a glorified scrimmage. And it came back and bit him in the ass. I bet you if they could go back, they would take that game more serious. Man, that's a great question. I'm starting to think Corbin hasn't announced anything yet. He might still be, vetting the league and seeing what his options are. I think Corbin ends up coming back though, as a coach. At the end of the day, your only job is to do whatever it takes to win. That last play should be on both the players and the coaches. All they had, they called a bad play though. But you're right. You can blame both. Fuller is a defensive genius. T. Rob led the nation in mixed tackles. Ooh, it's actually a good point. Say it again, Panama. there's a lot of blame to go around the JSU game. If Keyshawn Helton catches the wide open touchdown pass and that he can walk into the end zone with, they're probably never even in that position. Like, there's so much blame to go around. At the end of the day, players weren't up for that game. That's on the coaching, period. Say we do finish with 6 next year and Norvell is fired. Then what? Bring in an entire new coaching staff? Another. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Again, you can say what we want, but these other schools are showing that they're willing to play big boy football. Jimbo year 2 was in 2011. It's 2021. Game has changed. Got to see results faster. We are, because everybody else is getting them. What was worse, though? What was worse? I don't recall what year. I can look it up though. Let's do it, because I'm curious to see what was worse. A game worse. So instead of winning 10, Jimbo won 9 or 8. Like, do you see how that's not a comparable to going 3 wins and 5 wins? But I'm gonna look that up though. I want to look that up because I want to talk about that. Since we're comparing Jimbo. Good old Jimmy Fisher. Head coaching record. So in 2010, Jimbo, so a game worse, and you're really going to make that comparison. So in 2010, Jimbo's first year, he went 10-4. In his second year, he went 9-4. Woo, buddy. Are we really doing that? I know we're smarter fans than that. We're talking about 3 and 5 wins. If Mike was 6 wins his first, if Mike wins 8 wins his first year and 7 wins or something his second year, or no, he actually improved his second year. So if Mike went, let's say Mike went 6-6 his first year. And then his second year, he went 8-4. And then the third year, he went maybe down a game at 7-6. I don't know. I don't think people would be panicking. You're talking about 10-4 to 9-4. That ain't even in the same conversation. Like, we're not even in the same conversation there. So Mike gets fired because of FSU fault. Yeah, sure he does. Mike's job is to win games. Y'all, I don't understand why we want so many excuses for Mike. We all agreed that Taggart, now y'all about to make me turn a new leaf here. Nobody cared that it was Jimbo's fault that Taggart got the roster he got with the players that he had, with the toxic players and the cancers that he had. No one cared about that. No one cared that Jimbo built that culture and then left that thing to rot. But we wanted Taggart out of there because we understood what we were seeing. So we're going to have that same energy from Mike Norvell. That's just the way it is. What's up, Certified? Yeah, but he did get the Wake running back. So, if Jimbo don't get Jameis, what is Jimbo? But he did get Jameis. So that's how that works, If we don't get Jermaine Johnson, Mike might have went defeated this year without Jermaine Johnson. But he did get Jermaine. I think he's prime time, and I think he's doing great things for JSU. Ain't nothing more. Nothing more. I see this year you could have made that case, Jamal. I don't think they have a top 10 class next year if Mike's only winning 7 games. So that's where I disagree with you. This year, they were so bad in year 1. I think everybody understood the growth. I also think people can look at this year and say, oh man, FSU left a few games on the table. They are probably legitimately a 7, and in the best case, could have been an 8-win team. They left a few games on the table. You can't win 7 games next year with Travis Hunter on your roster and Sam McCall, regardless of if they're freshmen or not. You just can't do it. Man, what did Milton throw? 4? He tweeted him and, he tweeted his visit. I mean, that's the most I saw. Really successful and takes her team to the playoff. Takes his team to the playoffs. Win that title. Do you have him give him a big raise because you're afraid some under school might take him? Milton seems like a great guy. Y'all talking about Milton. They won't fire Norvell. I disagree. With this new AD, I disagree. If Mike goes 6-6, I don't see how he keeps that job. That AD has no ties to Mike Norvell. 0. Point blank period. Don't really want to relive the JSU game, but we all know if we just ran the football that game, we could have won comfortably. What up, Jay? UM fans saying the first real coach in 20 years is Mark Richt ain't winning them 10 games. I forgot about Jordan. That's good to hear from him, though. I think Wilson probably finds his way on the roster, probably undrafted, though. He's a big target for sure. Jimbo didn't throw an interception. Jimbo didn't take a sack when he had an easy field goal. Clearly, we learn from mistakes. I hope so. Why the hell would we turn this roster over again for a third time in 5 years? So what do you guys think? We should just keep Mike Norvell and continue to go 7-6 or 6-6? Like, what is it? We don't Mike's impervious to a fire because of what? I'm just curious. Because I feel like we are definitely rewriting the rules here. It's like we want to be mediocre. But I don't know. I'm just asking. Because LSU didn't give a damn. They just, 2 years removed from a natty, and they said, Edo, you got to go. So they want to win football games. USC said, we're tired of being irrelevant since Pete Carroll. They finally got a real AD in there. They said, hey, we want Lincoln Riley. Let's go get him. Miami finally seems to have, got their big boy pants on, and they said, man, we're sick of this Manny Diaz type stuff. Let's go pay $8 million for Mario. Let's go get him. And they've switched coaches every 3 years too. I'm just asking. If you had to take one, Milton or Emory, oh man. Both of them look terrible by the end. Whew. Maybe Emory because he can actually run. I'm going to let you die on that hill because I don't. I hope so. And so I think if you agree, if let's say I agree with that, which I hope I do, then that means there's no reason why Norvell should only win 6 games next year. Right? I think that will happen. Well, Mike better climb faster. Thank you. If needed, I expect it to. I'm not calling for it. I want Mike to succeed. But this notion that Willie got a year and a half because 6-6 wasn't good enough, but Mike gets 3, 4, 5 years, and 6-6, 7-6 is good enough. I don't know. I just don't buy into that. He's not even in my top 5. Somebody asked this on Twitter, Tyler, and I was like, I like Jermaine a lot. I'm not sure he even makes your top 5. I'm not sure he even makes your top 5. Think about Peter Boulware, Renard, Wadsworth. Hell, that's 3. What about Brendan Jennings or Jenkins? Sorry, Everett Brown, Bjorn Warner. Like I'm probably missing somebody here or there. That's tough. That's tough, right? It's probably in the mix. I mean, DeMarcus Walker. I forgot about D-Walk. We talk about we just kind of gloss over Walker like he didn't have 15 sacks or whatever that crazy number was. Like, you know, just from sack totals alone in 1 year is Boulware. I think Boulware, Wadsworth. I think Walker's 3rd. I think Renard Wilson. I think he leads. He has the all-time sack record for Florida State. So I mean, those are your top 4 guys. Now you're talking about the Everett, like all those other guys. Jermaine's in that category, you know. A broke school again, man. Y'all believe what y'all want. A broke school's hiring a new AD, and a broke school is, you know, again, paying $20 million. Miami was broke too, right? Until their boosters came together and put the money down. This has never been about. It's about what the boosters are willing to pay. It's always been about that. It's about that with any college. The boosters didn't have a problem throwing $20 million to get Taggart out of town, whether he deserved it or not. They did it. If they want to get serious about football, then that's what's going to have to do. Deion is a great coach, but he will be more of defensive coach, DB coach at FSU. Do you know anything about Rising Speed or how much money we have to shell out? I know nothing about that, but I can find out. I'll find out. I do like Mike offense and Euling running backs. We just need O-line, recruit, transfer portal to beef it up. Hiring, firing coaches is the price of doing business. Until you can find the right coach, I still believe in Mike, but the expectations are clear. Mike got to fire Fuller. He did his job. 2015 was going to be a rebuild year, and he had key injuries in 16, 17. I don't know what you guys are talking about right there. I mean, that's turning the coach over before, especially thus not having the class actually mean anything due to transfers rate and bust rate with the early signing period classes. Clayton Welch says wins are all that matter. And thank you for the $10 donation, Clayton. But he says wins are all that matter. Aren't there if there wins are all that matter. If there aren't any improvements, it's all talk and not reality. Florida and Miami are not looking at 6 and 7 wins as successful. Their goals is conference titles, and that you got to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. Mullen was just winning 10 games, and a year later he's gone. And Florida's done it too. Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, and here we go again. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong way to do business necessarily, but apparently these schools are committed to winning football games. Oh, but my bad, Clayton. Almost. Let's get that. Let's get Peter Work in here. No, actually, let's do.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
Yeah, but Burns, I think his highest sack total was 9. So Burns ain't even really in the conversation if we want to be honest. Sweat definitely don't make none of that. He's probably top 10. You could even top 10s put. I mean, again, Bjorn Warner, Tank Carradine, Cameron Wembley. Like, and then Brian Burns probably makes you top 10, right? So, but he probably does hit the top 10. Jermaine probably hits the top 10. Definitely top 15, I think. Darnell Dockett, even though I think he was more of a D tackle here. And Bowden allowed him to do it. But we talked about that before, Peter. That was Florida State's problem with Jimbo and why Jimbo left. Bowden allowed the university to get away with robbery because Bowden was just happy. Bowden felt like he could win. Bowden felt like he could win football games with logs and cylinder blocks, and like Bowden didn't need facilities and all that fancy stuff. He felt like he could win games like that. Bowden and Mickey Andrews. So Bowden allowed them to be cheap for years. And Jimbo was like, yo, it ain't 1993 anymore. It's 2013. We got to do that. We got to up the ante. And so that's been the, plus we haven't had the greatest ADs in that time span. If Tyra is what people, or Tyre, whatever, is what people kind of say he is, I think we're on the right path, y'all. Main Date, how you doing? Who are the major targets left that you think we land? I think we get West. I don't care what anybody says. I think we get Marv. Just that quick. I'm running blanks. I think we get Armella. And you know what? I don't feel so good about the Thomas kid out of Niceville. I think he kind of wants to go to Florida, and that thing might help Florida in that one. But for some reason, I'm getting a good feel about Gibson. So I'll go with those 4. Well, when they say that their administration handcuffed them, I just got to take it for what it is. I don't know shit about ADs, so I don't know really where to go with that. If Mike wins 7 games and let him go, they better pay that big money. Well, that's kind of my thing, right? I'm not saying fire Mike and go hire insert group of 5 coach here. If you're going to fire Mike, you damn sure better be willing to shell the money out to get the real deal in here, whoever that may be. Lane Kiffin, y'all already said who I wanted. Me personally, I want Dave Aranda. If for whatever reason, if for whatever reason Mike ain't cutting it, Aranda should be your first call, and then Les would be my second. Not Les, I said Les. Fucking Lane. Well, I just answered that question. Dave Aranda. I kind of agree with you right there, Jalen. I haven't seen any other team really be in on Pittman other than us. So I think we good. I think we're pretty good there. Again, I don't know nothing about AD hires. I'm going to be 100% honest, man. ADs ain't really winning and losing your football games. With that said, they do help everything behind the scenes. So I don't know. Marvin who opened up his recruitment? If we're talking about the same Marvin, his recruitment's been open. He ain't committed yet. Who are we talking about here? Probably not. What to do, Mr. H? What's the expectation of Mike if he wants to keep a job? Like I said, 8+, he's fine for next year. Anything less than 8, the seats burning. That's how I feel. All right, y'all. I'll take a few more questions and then we're gonna did a very successful episode today. But if anybody got any more questions, we'll knock those out. But we covered everything, man. We covered Randy Shannon getting promoted, possibly getting that co-DC tag. We talked about Florida kind of being, I'm not gonna say a dumpster fire, but they're losing recruits left and right. What else? We talked about everything that popped up under the sun today. The AD stuff, recruiting stuff, transfer. We talked about it all, y'all. So if you missed it, go back, check us out. Check out the conversation we had. If we are at least ranked, that's great. Well, yeah, that would be a start. That would be a start. Maiden Day was good. Love recruiting, but always get tired of all the drama as it gets closer to signing day. It's like a relief instead of a celebration. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait for next Wednesday? I can't wait for next Wednesday. Then we ain't got to worry about some of these names, right? Appreciate you, VJ. So if we ain't got any more questions, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out. So as always, man, hit that like button. If you didn't hit on the way in, you already know what to do. Hit that thing on your way out. I think that co-CD tag is mostly for more money to keep him up with the salaries, because word on the street is he was being considered for a DC role. That makes sense. And FSU was getting him fairly cheap last year or this past year. I don't think Randy was making over like $60K, which, I mean, hell, that's your average job, right? So they really got him cheap, I think. So probably gonna boost his salary significantly, and yeah. Appreciate it. Does anyone else hate seeing pictures of Norvell and Steph every 5 minutes that say crystal ball prediction instead of they're committed? That's just the nature of recruiting at this time. Appreciate you stopping by, Kilo. Why Miami fans always post the emojis of them toes? That's a whole person's foot. Y'all do know that's not a U, right? It's a foot. It's 2 feet. At least that's what it looked like to me. But anyway, hey, so there isn't more big time names in the Jalen, that portal again. FSU shouldn't be a rush. Spring ball is going to happen. That portal is going to crack open again. Fall is going to happen. That portal is going to crack open again. So don't be a rush and go out there and sign a bunch of guys when you have no idea who's going to emerge later on. But all right, guys, man, hit that like button on the way out. As always, share the video. We had a good crowd today. We had up to like 90 some. So we want to keep building this crowd, building how we do want to build that community over here. At a minimum, hit my like button and share the videos. Put them out there. If you're on Facebook, drop them on your Facebook page. A lot of y'all are in Facebook groups. Throw them out there. Let's get all the people over here we can get. And man, again, I'm getting sick. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I'm starting to feel it. And yeah, this Saturday, I gotta let you guys know, this Saturday is the wife's birthday. So don't expect the video, don't expect the live stream Saturday night, because I'll be doing things that she wants to do. Yeah. So this will probably be the last time y'all see me this week, unless I can get on here Thursday or Friday. If I do something, Friday will be today. But we won't do anything Saturday because I'll be doing whatever that woman wants me to do. I think there's a lot more value in Randy being experienced with the current staff. And I'm telling you, Kilo, man, them look like feet, bro. Come on, you look at them. Tell me y'all don't look like feet, do y'all? Don't look like them feet. It's damn sure not a you. That's definitely some feet. That's definitely some feet. And I'll let her know y'all said happy birthday. Appreciate y'all, man. But as always, it's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. This off seasons continue to be absolutely insane. But stay classy, stay classy, Seminoles. And we got you. Go Noles. And I'm gonna take some Benadryl or something, man. Cause I'm getting congested. But I'm gonna holler at y'all. You guys have a good night. Stay safe out there.